campfire is getting crowded.
Whoa! How?
I know, guys.
We did have to move the fire just to make sure there's.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that you have
Safety.
room for me.
Yeah, fire safety.
It's warm. I mean, I'm glad I've got this tea, but what a lovely fire.
Didn't you want this fire to be a different colour?
Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there.
Well, you can change. I'm sure you can change colour right now. If you just point at it and say the colour.
Oh, I'm gonna get there, but
It's a
not until the
performance
story
piece.
starts.
Oh, amazing.
It's a performance piece.
Amazing.
If you haven't guessed already, Rebecca's our special guest this week.
Hello. I'm really excited to be in the middle of this. I've watched every single one of the ohno videos. And am I going to get a rating today as well?
Yeah, we'll give you a rating.
Oh,
what we might do
guest
is
rating.
Jack and I will do our own ratings. We'll average it for you.
Oh, I like an average.
That's pretty in depth. That's pretty technical.
Things are going to be getting spooky in here, and temperature plays a big role.
Temperature.
Yes.
Do you want to give us the title?
I'm going to give you the title. The title is Poseidon.
Oh, that's.
Oh.
Listen, I'll have no pandering to the Lovecraftian judge over there.
I mean, I'm already
gonna be a
put it that way. I'm already in.
Well, I think without further ado,
Yes.
let's make this fire blue.
Oh my god! It actually is.
What are you?
I was joking, but you've actually made it blue. Wow.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know.
10 points already.
I bring the theatre.
Let's go. I'm so
Alright. Alice didn't have much to do these days. She didn't have many friends. It wasn't that there weren't friends to be met. It was that she'd grown afraid in her 33 years of living. What had once come easy to her, she was once the most popular girl in high school after all, had been beaten out of her by her now ex-husband Eric. He was behind bars in North Dakota, some 2,700 miles away. For him, the next 10 years would be spent in a hot cell decorated only by flaking beige paint and the picture of her he liked to keep beside his bed, her strawberry blonde hair dancing across her bruise-free face in the desert wind, a constant reminder of what a low-life piece of shit he was. Alice's hair was dancing today too, only it was cold air that slapped the loose strands to her face, making her wrap her scarf around herself even tighter as she walked along the rugged coast of Maine. New England, new life. Boredom had led Alice to put on 6 different layers, strap on her hiking boots, and deploy her goose-down winter coat. At first, the change was novel, but on this particular Saturday afternoon, she was sick of the frost. It had been unseasonably cold for March, and she blamed the endless snowdrifts for her lack of friends. Who meets people in the winter, anyway? Isn't the main focus just staying alive? Alice liked to listen to audiobooks while she walked along the coast. That way, it seemed like she was doing something, like she had a purpose. Also, the steady, warm voice of an author made her feel less alone. During this particularly blustery and bitter afternoon, Alice was delving into The Hound of the Baskervilles. She loved British crime novels and listening to the way the narrator speaks. Sometimes she would close her eyes and imagine herself as Sherlock's sidekick. Just as she was imagining her new life, smoking cigars and discussing clues, a brilliant blue flash of light jolted her from her daydream. She felt a shiver down her spine. "Someone's walking over your gravestone," her grandmother used to say. Inching forward on the trodden snow path, she saw something glittering in a frozen rock pool. There, under a thin layer of ice, was a ring with a large blue diamond. For a moment, Alice was mesmerized, and in a trance-like state, she took off her glove and smashed through the ice with her bare hands. A jolt of excitement seared through her, and without knowing what she was doing, she placed the ring on her left hand. It fit perfectly and covered the tan line left over from her failed marriage. Something rushed over her, a feverish feeling. She was hot, she was clammy. Despite it being well below zero, she was sweating. Another panic attack, Alice thought, a feeling she'd come to know all too well. It was too much, she realized. Too much to even think about her ring finger, let alone slide on another. She was disgusted with herself. Some poor woman had lost this no doubt very precious piece of jewellery which, by the looks of it, was likely a family heirloom, an antique dating back over the ages, passed down daughter to daughter or son to wife. Daughter. Alice felt a flash of bitterness at her mother, who had abandoned her the day she had announced her engagement to Eric. Her last words to Alice were, "I told you so." Planning on reuniting it with its owner somehow, Alice slid the ring off her finger and put it in her pocket. As she did so, she thought she saw a face in the expertly cut glass. A split second, that was all it was. Her mind was playing tricks on her. Still feeling nauseous, Alice now felt a shiver run quietly up her spine. Inexplicably scared and suddenly very aware of being alone, she paused the Hound of the Baskervilles. She needed something lighter. She hit shuffle on her Spotify playlist. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Well, isn't that the truth? Her heart was pumping. She took off her hat and scarf. When she returned to her one-bedroom attic apartment, it was freezing, even though she was certain she'd left the heating on all day. She looked at the thermostat. 25 degrees Celsius. The damn thing must be broken again. Great. Sam and Pat, the couple whose attic she was living in, had gone away for their golden wedding anniversary, and she would have to wait for them to get back to fix it. She wrapped herself in a blanket, but somehow just felt colder. Maybe she just needed to eat something. As soon as the thought crossed her mind, she realized that she was famished. Her usual go-to on a Saturday night was Indian or maybe occasionally pizza if she was feeling wild, but tonight she had an urge for sushi, which was really weird because she'd never really liked fish. Not fishy fish, anyway. Battered cod was as much as she could usually stand, or maybe some overcooked trout if she had to, but tonight she wanted sashimi. Raw fish! Can you even imagine? Who was she? She'd never even tried it before. If only her mother could see her now. See? She could change. As she placed the order from the one Japanese takeout in town, she felt an urge to have a drink. Not only that, after the day that she'd had, she felt like she deserved it. Gin with ice and a slice. Just the way she likes it. Sure, it was cold in her apartment, but nobody wants a warm gin, whatever the weather. She would just put on more layers. As she opened up the freezer, she felt a warm breeze. Oh, the heating must be back on. Good. She filled her glass with ice cubes and a healthy pouring of gin, deciding she didn't need the tonic. Gulp. There. That was better. Gin always warms the cockles. That's what her British grandmother used to say. As she was waiting for her food to arrive, she started Googling lost diamond ring. Weirdly, despite no longer wearing the gem, she had felt watched by it since she had arrived home. She had put it in a cup and put it high up on a shelf on the opposite side of the apartment. She didn't find any sign of an owner, but she did come across a news article from her town dated just 3 days ago, saying that a body had washed up on the rocks in nearly the exact same spot that she had found the ring. A woman. How awful. Just as she felt a coldness creeping down the back of her throat and a pain in her chest, the doorbell broke the silence. The food was here. Alice didn't even use a plate. She was ravenous. She ate the fish with her hands and left the rice and soup alone. The smell of them were enough to turn her stomach. She licked her fingers when she was done. It was as though somebody else had eaten her dinner, a savage by the looks of the mess on her kitchen floor. She hadn't even made it to the table. Maybe she was pregnant. But that couldn't be possible. She hadn't spoken more than 2 words to a man other than Sam in 6 months, let alone being close enough to feel the warmth of their skin on hers. Warmth. Alice was feeling much better after her fish feast and her gin, but she decided that maybe a nice hot shower before bed would see her right. She set the spray running as she cleared up her dinner mess. She felt strange taking off her clothes, still feeling like somebody was watching her somehow, but weird feelings were something that Alice had come to live with now that she was alone, and I have to say, they were better than a cold hard fist to the face or a kick in the ribs. For the first time in her adult life, she didn't have any bruises on her body, and that was something. As she pulled back the curtain and stepped into the spray, she screamed. So cold, but there was steam. How was that even possible? She turned the shower knob in the other direction and immediately the water got warmer. She continued to shiver. She shivered and she shivered until she turned the knob as far as it would go, and then the water scalded her skin. That was so much better. She couldn't bear the thought of the hairdryer, so she climbed into bed naked and wet. Her sheets clung to her damp skin. Her attic windows froze from the inside. That night, she had wild and disorientating dreams. She dreamt of a man, but it wasn't Eric. He had scaly skin. She dreamed of his lips. They were blue. She dreamed of water crashing over her, filling her lungs. She woke up gasping for air and dripping with sweat. Her house was so hot that she could barely breathe, yet she could see her breath. Something glinted in the darkness and she jumped out of her skin. When she looked down, she saw the blue diamond back on her finger, and this time there was definitely a face staring at her from the glass. Was she sleepwalking? Was she still dreaming? Was she delirious? She was just so hot. She couldn't think. She had to get out. She wanted to. She needed some air. She just could not think. She couldn't forget the outline of those blue lips either. They whispered softly in her ear, "Come to me, my darling. Come to me." She wrapped her still damp sheet around her naked form. She unlocked her door and crept down the stairs, slipping out of the house, barefoot in the snow. Her head and her body were pounding. She was burning, but something was drawing her down the road, down the path and back towards the ocean. Her heart thumped hard and she broke into a run as she heard the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks. Her ring finger throbbed and she threw the sheet into the wind. She stood upon the icy rocks, staring down into the blackness of the water in a moonless sky. She wanted this. She needed this. She wouldn't be alone anymore. She would be his. She would swim the ocean waves forever. At that exact moment, her body slammed against the rocks 2,700 miles away. A man awoke in a prison cell with a start. The end.
What?
Poseidon.
Whoo! Whoa!
The ending.
That was a tour de force.
Like it.
That was a whirlwind.
Was it too chiclet?
No, that was fantastic. Yeah. It was, again, it's something that I love, but it was very, very magical realism.
Yeah.
I think you captured that very, very well.
Well, I'd listened to some of the stories that you'd done before, and I feel like you covered a lot of different bases.
We haven't covered anything like that.
And I thought that, like, there wasn't any romance yet, so...
No, fantastic. And in any way, a woman in an abusive relationship fleeing from that is horrific in itself. So, like, you sowed the seeds on many different levels. I thought that was great.
Reminds me a bit of like The Fly.
Yes, yeah, it's like metamorphosis kind of thing. Like
Metamorphosis things they're always creepy, especially when a person doesn't know what's going on, when they're alone, and they're like unwilling as well. Like she obviously didn't want
No.
to become.
No, she did not.
No.
So what was the body? Who was the body?
It was, I guess, another woman who'd been drawn in and
fantastic. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It sounds like a horrific version of like the Queen's nose, just like
yeah.
Yes, it is. Isn't it?
And so I guess he calls the women to the sea.
That's great.
And
Just a siren song.
then like places the ring, and that's how they become his fishwife.
fish.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Fishwife.
What
Good
kind
job.
of what kind of thing would you do for a sequel or a spin-off?
Oh.
I feel like you were very much in the problem that I had is that like you've written a sequel already. Like, that was so cinematic.
Do you think so?
100%. Yeah.
What with her husband waking up?
Dude, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also wanted to give him like a bit of a moment of like humanity, because obviously he was a wife beater, but he woke up like scared because she died.
Yeah.
And
Now, is he going to be a revenge against Poseidon?
well, that's it. Maybe he'll
Imagine
go
that.
and solve
This
it,
is
and
the
that's his
start of,
ultimate.
like a Marvel universe.
Yeah.
You started off.
You just made an origin story.
Yeah.
That was dope.
So yeah, he's gonna find redemption, I guess, by fighting Poseidon.
Yeah.
Who
That
knows?
is so.
Who knows?
I'm actually like pumped. That's
Fighting Poseidon.
I
That
want to
was
see
your
that.
Tuesday. For Poseidon.
For Poseidon.
Poseidon like horrifically killed my ex-wife by trapping her in a ring and then went to beat Poseidon up.
Yeah.
That's part 2, I guess.
That's part 2.
I want to talk about how cool it is, just the mythos of like ancient gods and stuff like cropping up in modern
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just really cool. Every time it happens, it's just I love it. Anything to do with that. I remember like the one thing that scared me the most as a kid as a movie was what's it called, the Mummy. With all the ancient Egyptian gods coming and stuff. Like the fact that they act like we were wrong and they're all real and they're doing stuff like creepy stuff right now.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Pulled the tea bag out of my tea.
Poseidon's revenge.
Yeah.
You heard it.
The god of tea. Well, that was that. So thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Again, as anything you do, your performance was second to none.
Thanks.
Yes. Great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
I wish you could have seen a bit more of Rebecca's theatrics on screen. Maybe we'll cut to it.
She was like, dude,
Oh well, I was reading, but like, I did have a different idea, which was going to be about a boy, but maybe next time I pop in.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I almost felt like I shouldn't write about a female because I am a female.
No.
I don't know if you ever get that. If you're like, you shouldn't write about men because you're a guy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, write what you know, and you
Yeah.
very much are a female.
that's true. But I almost felt compelled to like specifically write about a guy because I'm a girl, but I didn't.
I think my first two were girls.
Yeah.
And the third one I think was a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know you say like write what you know, but like I feel like there's some things where it's just like if it's scary on such a core human level, the gender doesn't really matter. Like when I wrote I think it was for like Subscribe, like the story I did, my second story.
Yeah.
I could have done it as a guy, but there was nothing that would have changed, I don't think, between the two. So if you don't feel like it would have changed, I mean, I guess the key thing is like that domestic abuse with.
Well, obviously it can happen to guys, but I was
Yeah.
thinking about Poseidon
Yeah.
himself.
The very DNA of your story was kind of very relevant to women.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of like the horror came from, right? Because that's a woman's.
Horror.
Okay.
And it partially came from like I live alone, and some nights I creep myself out.
Just because unless you find like a little freaky ring.
No, I haven't found a
Well,
freaky ring. Thank God.
But stuff like the artifacts freak me out.
Yeah.
You know, we had a conversation about like cursed
Cursed
objects and stuff like
artifacts.
that. The thought of just like, oh God, what are you going to do? Because once it's there, it's there. I didn't ask for
What do
this.
you do if you
Yeah.
get like a cursed doll? Do you off it on someone?
Exactly, you know.
Strangely enough, it feels like, considering they are inanimate objects, in a lot of stories, they're harder to get away from than actual living things.
Exactly.
Like an actual ring will follow you to the end of the earth somehow. You can always run away from a bog monster. Exactly. Like a ring is
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're never going to get away from
No,
a ring.
never.
It will find
Can't
you.
kill it with fire either.
So what's the next story for the ring then?
Oh, I don't know. What, as in who's going to get it
Next
next?
victim.
So basically it will end up on the rock again and some other unsuspecting
Unwitting
female
victim.
will
So-
come across it.
So stay away from Maine, New England.
Stay away from Maine, New England.
If you find a ring on a rock in Maine, New England,
Leave it there.
leave it there.
We've probably got a viewer from Maine.
Yeah.
Don't go looking for
It's
rings
like-
on rocks.
I was trying to go for like a small town vibe, but then she wanted to order sashimi and I was like,
No, but you did say it was the only one.
yeah.
I love how you say she wanted to. You're like, oh, good
She just
character.
wanted sashimi.
Why she got that?
Well, she felt compelled to. I hope it was
No,
clear
but I
she wanted
like that.
fish.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the
Why not
sl-
fish?
again. It was like the metamorphosis thing.
Yeah.
The slow kind of unraveling your own humanity.
Exactly.
And did you
And
get that? Like her house was warm, but
Yes,
she,
she
yeah.
couldn't stand it. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 The shower scene was
The
good
shower,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Great
There we
job,
go.
Rebecca.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant
Thank
score.
you.
Thank you so
Oh, a
much.
score. Oh,
Oh
God.
my God, scores. Oh.
We'll do it at the same time.
No, don't do that to me. You go first.
I'm going to go with a 7.3.
Oh, 7.3.
You knocked it out of my head.
Well, you should have gone first.
7.3.
But I was gonna-
What-
that would've
what
been-
was
I
the-
thought I was going to feel really good. I'm like, yeah, go.
I feel very good about that because I know that you guys are like 10 is like what I can't
Oh.
sleep tonight.
Dude, 10 with. I don't think we'll ever get.
I was thinking like 6
Challenge.
is a respectable score. So
Yeah.
what's the highest that's been achieved?
11's at 10.
I think that's fair.
Take it to 11.
10, we're done. Yeah, got it. And the last week's one, Danny gave me a 7.8, which
Yeah.
I don't think I deserved.
Well, I can take it away from you if you want.
I haven't heard that one yet, have I? That's not out yet.
haven't.
No, not out yet.
Oh, this
well,
thing
no,
that-
it is out yet.
Background knowledge,
Go and watch it.
Okay, so you watched that. I guess I will
Yeah.
have seen it by the time this goes out. And it was very scary,
Thank you
Jack.
so much.
I won't sleep tonight.
And also, while we're plugging things, I think it's time to put our email up right here again.
Yes.
Every week we tell you guys to send us in your original story, just like Rebecca wrote a great original story there. Send them in. Next week we're doing a live stream. It's going to be on my personal channel, so I'll put that in the description box. I'll put it in the comments as well. And basically, Jack and I are going to read out some original stories that you sent to that email.
And we've got some great ones actually.
We've had
some really good ones.
It's been worth saying it to them every week. We've got
Yes.
some really, really good ones.
Yeah.
Very excited.
I'm looking forward to the live stream. I saw your last live stream and it was great. So
You were in the comments as well.
I know.
I was very happy.
all up in the comments.
Yeah. Maybe you can be in it one day.
Oh, I'd like that.
I think when we start doing it on this channel, then we'll start
Yes.
having
Yes.
guests.
Guests.
And stuff. Yeah.
And Rebecca, hopefully, is the start of a very long line of
I hope so.
working with How No, and hopefully we have some more guests who are equally as fantastic as Rebecca Felgate.
Oh yes.
I was about to plug your own channel there. Also, Rebecca has a YouTube channel for the. I know we've got a lot less subscribers than you, but if you haven't checked out Rebecca's stuff, go and check it out.
Please do. I'm trying to move away from Harry Potter, and if you could join me, you could maybe help me.
Poseidon.
Oh my god, it's
It could
Poseidon.
be a whole new series.
I could act as Poseidon's fishwife.
That would be
Just
dope.
me roleplay. I'd love
Just
that.
roleplay the whole video, like, he's got me again. Can't stop eating fish.
Instead of sending me roses, he sends me a bouquet of trout.
Just a bucket of fish heads at your door.
Poseidon again.
Poseidon, get the picture, bro.
Wow, the fun we have.
Wow, look how
The fun we have.
we descended into.
Would you like to be our honorary fire blower for this?
Oh yeah, still blue.
It's blue fire.
So I will. I'm just gonna have to. Maybe we can all do it on 3. Can we?
We can. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next
1,
week.
2, 3.
Still smoking, but blue.
Yeah, what's
Really
blue
gets you. My
smoke?
hair's gonna. I'm gonna like smoke now.
See you later, guys.